Gary Moore was a phenomenal guitar player, and personally, I'd say he was one of the best guitar players. He could go from ultra-fast shredding, hard rock, almost metal, and then into what most players would class as the epitome of playing with feel. He had some amazing solos, and a lot of the time they were improvised too. I think it would be foolish to say one was better than the other, but if there was only one instance of, say, a 5-string guitar solo, then that would objectively be his best 5-string guitar solo. And that's exactly what we're looking at today, and for 3 reasons. 1, personally, it's my favourite Gary Moore solo. 2, I think it's incredibly underrated. I've never seen anyone talk about this one. And 3, I want to try and replicate it, or at least, to the best of my ability. I'm not Gary Moore, but I'm going to try. So let's start with a little bit of backstory. In 1979, Thin Lizzy played 2 songs live on the BBC programme The Old Grey Whistle Test. Now at the time, programmes like Top of the Pops had the bands mime to the album track. But this was different. This was a live performance, and there's positives and negatives to that. The main negative, which we'll see very shortly, is that the live mixes weren't always optimal. Thin Lizzy played 2 songs on this show, Back on the Streets, a Gary Moore solo track, and then Don't Believe a Word. Gary Moore was in Thin Lizzy a lot, and he was also not in Thin Lizzy a lot. He first joined for a few months in 1974, then filled in on a tour in 1977, and then joined on a permanent basis in 1978, but then left midway through a tour in 1979, citing that he was fed up with the band's increasing drug use and how it was affecting their performances. But let's take a look at this performance, which was from 1979. They start off with Back on the Streets, and Gary is playing pretty hard. Pretty hard to tell, but I think that he breaks his low E at the very end of that song. And then at the beginning of the next one, he notices that he's broken it. Don't Believe a Word starts off slow and pretty much just like the album version. And it's immediately noticeable that Scott Gorham is significantly lower in the mix than Moore.
Don't believe me if I tell you, not a word of this is true.
Most of the guitar we're hearing is Gary. Then there's a short solo, and we can see closer up that he has broken his low E. Now the song strays from the album version, and in my opinion is better. It picks it up and just we know that Scott Gorham is pretty low in the mix, but someone who's non-existent in that mix is Darren Warden on keys. He may as well not be there. This is what I meant by live mixing not being optimal. Now, in my opinion, this is a classic example of just how important the music underneath a solo is to making it a good solo. If you remove that driving force, then the solo means nothing. So I want to try and recreate this, and an important part is the drums, and probably more important is the bass. That's holding everything here together. So I'm gonna try my best to recreate it. I'm gonna start with drums. Now, I'm not a drummer, so the best I can do is click it in. I'm clicking in every hit. It's taking a while. It's kind of what he's playing. Alright, bass time. Now, I tried recording with this. This is a Warwick Proline Corvette. Really nice high-end bass, but it just wasn't delivering the sound. It's fretless, it's got wound round strings, jazz pickups. It provides a mellow tone, and that's the complete opposite of what we're going for. So, a P bass. I know it's looking a little bit worse for wear at the moment, but that's because I need to put some new pickups in, and I'm going to take you along for the journey in doing that. This is an SX standard series bass. Look at the figuring in this neck. This is probably the nicest looking neck on any instrument I have, and this is like a budget model. This was my first ever bass. It's actually pretty good. The pickups we're going to be putting in are these passive EMG Geezer Butler set. Not a sponsored video. I just got these because I'm really bad at soldering. We got the bass, and I'm really happy with it. It's punchy, and that's what we want. By the way, all the sounds, guitar and bass, are coming from the Line 6 Helix. Now on to Scott Gorham. Now, he's pretty low in the mix, so it is quite hard to hear exactly what he's doing, and in some places I've had to guess, but I think it's pretty much what he was doing. For his parts, I used this BC Rich Mockingbird, and for a couple of reasons. One, we know that when he was in Thin Lizzy, he did at least play a BC Rich for a music video. Two, it's pretty much, or at least this model is based on a Les Paul, same scale length, bridge, woods, so it's close to a Les Paul. And thirdly, I've got P90s in them, so they're going to be a little bit easier to bury in the mix, and that's kind of unfortunately what we want here. And for Gary Moore, I'll be using this. This is my dad's 70s Ibanez Custom. It's pre-lawsuit, made in Japan, and it's an era-correct Les Paul copy, at least for what we're doing. Also, fun Thin Lizzy fact, when Scott Gorham originally auditioned for Thin Lizzy, he was worried they weren't going to take him seriously because he was using a Japanese Les Paul copy. The timelines match up. It could have been this one. Probably not, though. Anyway, thanks for watching. I've linked the full performance video in the description, and this is my best attempt at a section of my favourite Gary Moore solo.